already started.
Started.
Hello.
That's good. 참말로 테스트래. Vienna City, Austria네. 테스트를 먹고요. 아니 대랭하다 니 부모가라니. 야 큐크지 된거 삼성 디켜야디 된다. 베베기 아이덴티티 라이스토아. 원디기 톨라 지고 삼주정지 시행이스라. So what do you think is Tibetan identity?
Identifying as a Tibetan person, cultural-wise, tradition-wise,
Yeah,
food-wise,
yeah,
everything which is part of the culture.
yeah. How about the political issue?
Identity.
How can you identify yourself Tibetan in the political front?
In the political front, well, we are refugees, and we have been refugees over 50, 60 years now since Tibet has been occupied. And I think that since Tibetans have been roaming around in the world because they don't have their own country, that on a political sphere, Tibetans should be identifying strongly with the culture and trying to spread the message all around and try to live a Tibetan life and keep the culture alive.
Yeah. The culture alive means not just the way you dress, the way you eat, but it's also the way you think, right?
Yeah. A Buddhistic way of thinking.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that means karma comes into play as a Buddhist.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put karma as a principle in this life, that means Chinese government has to also face its karma.
Definitely, yeah. And I think generally you should live your life not just doing good because of karma, because you want the good back, but you should always keep in mind that karma is going to come anyways, good or bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you see the Tibetan independence movement?
I'm very optimistic about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's movement has been going on for a while now, and in Austria, a country which is far away from Tibet, there are still demonstrations going on where a lot of Tibetans are demonstrating and fighting for a free Tibet. And in other parts of Austria, in Linz and in Salzburg, there are a lot of Tibetans who gather around and try to make people aware. So I think we're doing actually a great job with that in the Tibetan community.
Yeah.
And I think that we should all keep doing that, and that the movement, at some point, we're going to reach a level where we have way more influence and where we might even be able to get the right politicians in the regime. Tibetan who want to fight for a free Tibet.
Yeah. So as a Tibetan youngster, you can visualize an independent Tibet.
Of course. That's why I've got that tattoo.
Rangsen
Means
Yeah.
Rangsen, free Tibet.
You've got
and
in
my mom
capital
has that too.
in Ume.
In Ume.
Yeah.
So we are both manifesting that for the future.
Yeah.
And if we weaken China economically, then like boycott China, if we stop buying Chinese products, we can weaken them financially. And I think this is like one of the ways to go with it, because China is a strong power, especially militarily wise, and they are one of the leading economic powers of the world. So if that is their strength, we need to take away that from them. And it is as simple as, like, on a daily basis or habit, you just, when you go buy stuff, just look back, see if it's made in China or not, and then if it's made in China, just leave it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think of the elder Tibetan generation who have no hopes to get an independent Tibet because they have been brainwashed by certain politicians? You know, what is your message for the older generation?
I think for the older generation, it is very important to pass by the mindset of independent Tibet to the other generations, because we're the one who are looking up to the elders, and as you know, children learn from their parents. So it is important for them to have an optimistic mind about that and try to make their kids believe that it is possible. Because if you pass it on to generations, you just not yourself gave up on believing on a free Tibet, but you also made your children and the children of your children give up on that. So it is a way bigger movement.
Yeah. Okay, this is for the older generation. What about the younger generations who are getting brainwashed?
About the younger generations, the Tibetans or Tibetans who are living in the children who are living in other countries, like for example in Austria or I don't know, USA. I've met a lot of Tibetan children from different countries because I went to TCV camp. I think the problem there is that they are kind of out of touch with their spirituality and their nationality, because the Western society or wherever they live have a big influence on them. So in this case, I would say the parents need to do the work. So because the kids will only turn out right if the parents do it right.
And the society, right?
And the society,
And how important is Tibetan Buddhism and spirituality for our political attainment of independence?
Very important, because spirituality is what makes our nation great, and it has always been our strength. And if the own politicians, our representatives, if those do not connect with their spirituality, they will not bring the civil Tibetan people what they want, and they will not represent us in the right way. So finding spirituality and being aware of what bad you're doing and how you influence other people and who you are talking for. Those politicians, they should be talking for us Tibetans. They should keep in mind that this is a nation who is waiting for the help to get represented in the right way and to spread awareness about Tibet. And they should do that right.
So in that way, the religious representatives in the Tibetan parliament play a very important role in the Tibetan freedom movement.
Definitely.
Okay, Sean? Hi, Sean.
Hello, back again.
Hi. How can you, as a European citizen, support the Tibetan independence movement?
I think, as you know, before I met Rinchen, I didn't actually know a lot about Tibet. I find a lot of people I've met before who are from the UK and stuff like that. They also don't really know much. If you were able to, or if I was able to create some sort of awareness online and to people I know about Tibet and about its history, which I already have with my family, and they became aware, I was able to have that same effect on people around me who are of my ethnicity and stuff like that. But we're able to create more awareness from other groups around the world and other people who aren't aware of Tibet and what's going on over there. And it can just make things all the more better, I guess.
The youngsters are the seeds of the future Tibet, right? The Tibetan youngsters. So what is your message?
My message?
For the Tibetan youngsters.
I would say look into your history. You'll find some interesting stuff there. And you'll be able to take that information and move forward and hopefully give some sort of satisfaction maybe to your ancestors, I guess. Bring what they brought before to this generation. You have the power, so do the right things with it, I guess.
And every youngster should take it as a very important purpose to be helping and trying to get a free Tibet, because if you like it or not, you're Tibetan and you are part of an old sacred culture which has been there for many years and which has only taught peace and how to get along. And such a culture should be not a culture which dies out.
Yeah, don't take it for granted.
Yeah, that means if Tibet stays under the subjugation of China, and China has always tried to reduce our religion to null.
Yeah.
So it's like you're promoting the Marxist theory of communism, which says religion is poison. So this is already one very huge reason to try to fight for an independent Tibet, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you said spiritualism is very important,
Yeah.
and we have got like many great monk politicians in our parliament. What is your message for them? Because they are really great, you know.
Monks, politicians. First of all, thank you for standing up for us.
Yeah.
And trying to do the right thing. Secondly, we need more of you.
Yeah.
So it would be nice if this monk politician society grows.
Yeah.
And I hope for you and for the Tibetans that we all will see that you should be our representatives and not people who want Tibet to be part of China.
Yeah.
And just most of the gratitude for that.
Yeah.
So I think it is very important that we don't let the wrong people into our government, and that we do not vote for the wrong people, because the wrong people will use that power to their own, and you don't know if the Chinese are working with them together, and if they are not trying to achieve together a Tibet which goes with China.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful about other people's intentions in the government. And mostly you can tell that from what they talk and what they want.
Yeah.
And the fact that there is a Tibetan standing in the government for Tibetan refugees and saying that they don't want a free Tibet is already a bit questionable to me.
Yeah.
If he's not working together with the Chinese or she.
Yeah.
But if I were to vote, I would definitely go for a Tibetan who wants a free Tibet, and I would put anybody else out of the Tibetan representation.
Yeah.
Because they should be representing us as Tibetans who want a free Tibet.
Yeah.
So all those other people, I ask you please to question what they say and also question their intentions.
Yeah.
And vote for the right person.
Yeah. So.
Free Tibet. Pygyalo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pygyalo. Free Tibet.
Free Tibet.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Free Tibet. Free Tibet.
Free Tibet. Bye. See you
Bye.
again.